Hi, everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, depending on where you're joining us from today. My name is Michelle Mather, and I'm the founder of the Green Marketing Academy. Welcome to our LinkedIn Live Spotlight Series, or welcome back if you've joined us before. This is time when we showcase changemakers and leaders who are helping to inspire climate activism and more sustainable and ethical marketing practices. I am so excited. Today we have Megan Thudium, CEO of this MTC marketing agency, joining us. And fun fact about Megan and I is we grew up about 25 miles from one another. And I think we met, about 6 months ago, and had been planning this live for a long time. And it's just been, it's great to see the synergies that exist between the work that we're doing. So I'm really excited to have her join us today. So welcome, Megan, and I'll hand it over to you to just give a more thorough introduction of yourself to kick us off.
Yeah, of course. Thanks so much for having me here. It's so exciting to be talking with your audience about sustainable marketing and green marketing. Such a cool topic. So a little bit about me is I've been marketing for over 10 years. Sometimes it's hard to realize how long it's been and how much the marketing world has changed over the last 10 years. But now, what I'm doing specifically is I do content marketing for sustainable brands. And so I very much operate, for example, as a content lead within climate technology companies or NGO climate related topics in companies. So that's what I'm doing at the moment, but I didn't start there. And I always like to kind of share where my climate journey has taken me, because I think a lot of people want to get into this field, but they don't quite know how to. So I actually started in NGO and nonprofit, and then I went into B2B software. And then from B2B software in between now, that's kind of where I found kind of my purpose and the impact that I wanted to have. And I really like reflected in to think, okay, what do I want to do with my career and where do I want to be? And I really enjoyed the clients that I was having at the moment within the green and sustainable space. So it's like, this is where I can bring my talents as a marketer and communicator to the most and have the most impact. So from there, that's where I evolved into my current role, and where kind of all the shaping of the impact I wanted to have, and the journey and what I want, a difference I want to make in my career, my life, it's all brought me to this moment and what I'm doing in sustainable marketing and at MTC, the content agency.
Awesome. Thank you. I love that you included some of your journey of how you got here because, yeah, most of us in this space, had a long career. Mine was in corporate marketing as well. And just we all find our way here in very different ways. So thank you for that. If anyone is joining live and has questions, I just wanted to mention, feel free to pop them in the chat, either on LinkedIn or YouTube, wherever you're joining in from. And if you're watching this after the fact, please post questions as well, and we'll make sure we get back to you on those. So, okay, you talked about this a little bit, but if you could go into telling us more about your why do you do this work? And you answered a little bit of how you got into it, but if you want to elaborate on that, that would be great.
So, my why, kind of the essence of why I show up to work every day and do what I do, is I would really love to see the marketing and communication industry transformed into a force for good. Um, I am doing that by developing out a role that I describe as the eco marketer, which is a term that I coined. It's not patented or anything, so you can steal it. You can call yourself an eco marketer. I hope you do. And the idea is to get every marketer to be thinking with a sustainable mindset in their everyday marketing work. So putting people on the planet first in all their marketing work. So that's my why, and that's kind of the impact story that I'm trying to develop currently for myself personally in my marketing career, but also from the agency side, because as an agency founder, of course, we serve our clients, and our clients have great visions and missions that they're also operating towards, and we're a part of that. But as an agency, we wanted to also think larger, is how can we be like an impact marketing agency? How can we be more than an agency that is just delivering work and great quality work, but just kind of, moving the needle forward? And that's where my impact really has come in is the combination of my personal impact with our agency impact and trying to transform the industry into a force for good.
Awesome. Yes. And this is exactly why, I mean, just hearing some of your videos and reading some of the content that you put out, I 100% agree. And it's great to be in this space because we are trying to encourage as many marketers, as many marketing professionals and teams and just consumers as we can on, how do we adopt these practices to make them the norm and to detach from some of those traditional marketing practices that can feel very manipulative and overbearing, which if we have time, I'll share an example that happened literally yesterday when I clicked a
Right.
link and then proceeded to get bombarded by like 5 different channels of marketing throughout the rest of the day to get me to buy that thing, which I did not buy.
Wow.
But yeah, so if you could tell us more about your agency, what is the mission and the vision of your company and organization?
So, MTC, the content agency, is a thought leadership B2B content agency. We're rather niched. We focus, yes, on environmental sustainability companies, but more specifically a niche B2B field. So, a lot of my clients are in these very difficult chemical recycling type of industries where you really have to dissect the complexity and talk to niche audiences in a creative and entertaining way. And we do all sorts of content related tasks for them. So everything from content and SEO strategy all the way down to the content creation and the implementation. And then, that's like the day-to-day nitty-gritty work, right? And then like I was already saying, there's this deeper impact side of our agency that I'm currently working on developing. And you'll understand this. I mean, you always try to put as much of that impact mission, marketing as a force of good, what I was talking, into your client work. You're always trying as a consultant to move the needle, to encourage, to enlighten, to inform, but you can't do everything with your clients.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of the other side that I've been working on is me more as like, let's say, an influencer, as a figure in the industry, as marketing. How can I push out these impact messages? How marketing can be used as a force for good. So that's kind of the other side that I'm currently working on as kind of an impact agency focus is where does myself stand as like the founder, the impact maker, this person, and for example, using my personal brand to elevate that platform.
We definitely live and breathe dual roles doing what we do because, like you just mentioned, there's the client serving piece of what we do
Yeah,
with your agency, with the fractional CMO work that I do. And then because of the nature of the work, it's also just education,
yeah.
educating not only our clients, but as many people as we can about this. So yeah, I love that you touched on that. Which of the UN Sustainable Development Goals is the MTC agency primarily focused on? And if you could
Mhm.
provide a little explanation behind each.
This is such a good question because I think the SDGs is such a great framework to just, align your moral compass with. I mean, businesses do this, but also as a person, you can do this too. You can say, I'm dedicating my career to SDG so and so. So for us personally, myself and also for my agency, we highly focus on SDG number 12, which is responsible consumption and production. I think it's one of the biggest one. You probably focus on it too. And specifically, we focus on 12.8. So it's basically trying to help people by 2030 ensure that people everywhere have relevant information and awareness on sustainable development and how living a more sustainable lifestyle will not only help planet but also bring happiness and harmony to to the ecosystem, the place that they live. And the ways that we do that is, like I just said, the impact way of our work is really focusing on educating people about certain topics that, of course, we're passionate about but are important, and then giving them the activation pieces to make that happen. And then encouraging marketers in such a way on how they can do that in their own campaigns and the importance of that. So I think that's the biggest one. The other one that I wouldn't say is in the SDGs, but is really important, is kind of the more ethical side that I think you really get into from your work. Is, you know if marketing is dedicating themselves to responsible consumption, then that means that we also need to be encouraging people through our campaigns and messaging to practice responsible consumption. So it's not just bringing awareness about what's working, what's not, and cool climate technologies. That's important for inspiration and hope, but also how can we take responsibility? So I think overall SDG number 12 is very important for our line of work.
Yeah, great. I was just reading an article and sharing it with our Green Marketing Academy community this morning from 15C. They're a great newsletter. If you're not subscribed, I can send it to you. And for those of you listening, highly recommend subscribing to their emails. But they had an article of 5 questions to ask yourself before you make an impulse purchase. And it went through questions like, can I buy this secondhand? Where am I actually going to put this widget or this thing, which really personally spoke to me because sometimes we get so excited or they're marketing it in a way. And I worked more at like B2C and product-based businesses than I know that you do, but I'm just always fascinated by how they get us to make that purchase when we don't need the widget or the
Yeah,
service or the
exactly.
thing. Yeah. So,
Behavioral psychology, it's so fascinating. And this is where I really think marketing can be used as a force for good, because you just imagine how we've used that to our ability to sell stuff that people don't need. If we just took the minute to step back and how can we use that to champion more sustainable lifestyles or to buy more sustainable products or all these different things to reduce consumption in a good, positive, but still business building way. Just like marketers have so much creative power and influence, and I think that's one of the biggest messages I would like to see with this kind of eco marketer role that I'm doing, is you realizing that you really do have an impact through your work in this kind of better, more just, sustainable world that we're trying to build together.
yeah, 100%. You already, some of these questions very much blend together, but what do you feel like? I know you talked a lot about the eco marketer role, and yes,
Mm,
we want to make every marketer essentially an eco marketer to put
yeah.
this in their primary lens or their focus. But what do you feel like is the greatest impact that your role as the agency owner and lead has when it comes to encouraging more sustainable and ethical marketing practices?
So this is a great one because I think agencies in general are supposed to be the ones driving change and within their industry, within the marketing and advertising industry. And that's really where I see myself as a founder, an agency founder, driving these really important messages on awareness level, like I said, to bring that impact, to bring the awareness to the greater marketing community to receive impact. So that's the good side of it. But I also think also the kind of pushing back side of it is challenging the status quo of how agencies, communication agencies, PR agencies have been operating for the last 50 years. If you're in this space, you know, Edelman and all of these other type of
Mhm.
agencies and how they push certain narratives and, for example, fossil fuels to drive consumption that is unsustainable, as we know. Challenging agencies like that, like this isn't acceptable anymore as part of like the ethical standards of how we operate in marketing if we're building this sustainable world that we're dedicated to. So I think that's also, this is going to become something I'm working on, but it's going to be very important for agency owners because they're going to have to start taking a moral stance. And you already see it, for example, you know, Clean Creatives has pledges that
Mhm.
agencies can take, for example. Pledges are great. I would love to see the actual activation, like living up behind it. That's the next step. But that's also what we can do as individuals, is hold our agencies accountable, hold our
Mhm.
companies accountable. If you're going into an agency as a job, ask them, have you signed one of these pledges? Is this important to you? And if
Yeah.
they're not, challenge them on it. I mean, only through collective conversation and activation together as a community can we make change.
Yeah. Yeah. Great, great advice. There are so many instances where I've talked to other agency owners when they have to make a hard decision sometimes if they have a client that comes to them that does not align with their values. Most of them turn them away or refer them elsewhere. And it just comes down to some of the moral reasons or having a conversation to, again, educate them that we can help you with your content marketing in this way, but not in a way that's going to be misleading or harmful to who you're marketing to. So yeah, thank you for sharing that advice. Tell our audience, our green marketing community, and our followers on LinkedIn and YouTube how our audience can best support you and get connected and stay in touch with you.
Yeah, of course. So the best way to kind of educate yourself also and enlighten yourself about this topic is to visit my YouTube channel. It's Megan Thudium. You'll find me on YouTube. I'm sure the link will be shared. And I talk all about sustainable marketing, what it means to be an eco-marketer, how to use hope messaging, for example, in your communication, all these different things that we can do as marketers and communicators. So please follow my YouTube channel. Also, please follow me on LinkedIn because I also post a lot of great information between my newsletters and also my videos about the Marketing for Good movement. And I'm always open to messages through LinkedIn. So if you ever want to reach out and just have a chat about it, I always love coffee dates on this topic.
Yeah. And I echo, Megan does great videos. I was just complimenting her on them before we started the live today and your newsletter. So yes, thank you for all of the work that you do to continue to educate. And again, use marketing as a force for good. I'm 100% on board and in agreement with everything that you talked about. And it's great to hear, from other marketers that are in different parts of the world, that we're all moving in the same direction and trying to create a ripple effect with our thought leadership. So thank you again for joining us. And I know we have plenty of collaboration opportunities moving ahead for us. So thank you everyone for joining. And please let us know if you have questions, if you found this conversation insightful. And then I will be back next week with our next LinkedIn Live with John Fox from Earth Hero Corporate Gifting. So we hope to see you then. And thanks again, Megan. We really appreciate your time.
Wonderful. Thank you, everyone. Thanks so much.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.